Hello there, namaste. So I'm heading off to see Deadpool and Wolverine, and this time I'm bringing a guest. Say hi, Dad.
Hi.
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 So I just finished watching Deadpool and Wolverine, and I gotta say, it's fun to watch. The jokes are hit and miss for the most part. I think it has to do with the strike that he wasn't able to spitball some things on the fly, but it worked for what it was. Having Hugh Jackman back in his legit suit, it took him 20 something years to get to that point, but it absolutely worked. I'm not gonna spoil much of anything. Having Hugh Jackman's daughter back was kind of a letdown. I kind of wish it served more of a purpose. I'll say that. The way it started out, it kind of, because my biggest fear was it was going to ruin Logan as a film. Because Logan is by far my favorite superhero film of all time, because it's not really a superhero film. But it did justice by saying it was going to disgrace it. And it worked when it started immediately. They exhumed. Yeah, they just do it, go in 100%. And then they do a flashback, which kind of bothers me because keep in mind that Deadpool is a part, they introduced that Deadpool is in in the Logan world, in the Logan timeline. So Deadpool is a part of the Logan world where there are no Avengers. They do a flashback to where Deadpool is trying to join the Avengers. I mean, it's a Deadpool movie, but Deadpool works by breaking the fourth wall and talking about things that nobody else will know except for the viewers, because, well, the script reads him. The script, he knows the script. He's read the script. He's Deadpool. The writers talk into his ear. I mean, so it works. But having the world break and shatter around him just for a joke doesn't work. It doesn't fit well. And that joke went on far longer than it should have, for like 5 minutes. Not only did it not fit the setting itself, it went on for far too long. But after that, it goes back to being normal, about being the family. Then the TVA show up, capture him, and then they basically talk about how his world's gonna end and he needs to save it. So he goes on the hunt for a Logan to help him out. And I hope none of this is spoilers, really, but he goes for to hunt for a Logan, and one of the biggest things, I'm gonna spoil this, I guess, if you don't want to hear. He gets the worst Logan. All right. He gets the worst Logan. Not a Logan that killed the X-Men and the Magneto and all those people. Not that kind of Wolverine. The one that destroyed all the mutants. No. The worst Logan is a Logan that said no. That said no to wearing the suit. No to joining the X-Men. That apparently is the worst Logan, and that kind of pissed me off. It was one of the weakest story bits. Everyone kept saying how he's the worst Logan, and when we get his flashback, it's him walking through a cornfield. You know, you get that scene in some movies where you get a flashback where someone's just walking through a cornfield, touching all the hay that's growing around them. That kind of cliche bit. They had that in there. A lot of things didn't work because it kind of shattered the world he lived in. And I wasn't a fan because Logan takes place in 2026. His daughter is 12 years old then. Apparently, his daughter returns as an adult, but it's 2004 and Logan isn't even gone yet, but it's going to happen, so why not get the Logan of that time and just rectify the situation before he gives his... so much stuff is just ridiculous and doesn't make sense, but it's a Deadpool movie, so you go on with okay, it's fine. The cameos are there's only really 2 cameos worth it. One of them is a Wolverine, and another one is, well, let's be honest, the only one of his kind that matters. Always has been the case, always will be the case. So that was it. That alone, like that one cameo, those 2 cameos literally make everything else that's a massive issue in the story acceptable to me, because it's like I really just want them to acknowledge that he really is the only one, and they should keep him as the only one. But other than that, I enjoy the film for what it is. It's not really, for me, it's not that great. I would still prefer the first Deadpool movie over this one. This one, what makes it great is Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds as basically a buddy cop situation. Two people that don't want to be working together, but realize they work well together. The fact that Hugh Jackman is finally in the OG Wolverine suit, which for some reason they never put him in for the past 20-something years, and it looks amazing. The fact that Wolverine is actually fighting for the first time like Wolverine. I mean, he always did like the jumps, the leaps, the shouting, but like you'll see. There are a lot of things that make it work, that justify a lot of the story and world-breaking situations that they introduce. Because it makes sense that Deadpool knows about the Avengers. What doesn't make sense is him trying to join the Avengers when he's not a part of that timeline. How can he talk with them when he's not a part of that timeline? It's just kind of dumb, and it doesn't just break the fourth wall. It shatters the reality in its entirety. So in the end, it's like, if you also think about it, the mutants were eradicated in Logan. So at that point in time in 2024, when this movie takes place, the mutants would have been getting gone, but they're still around. They're not eradicated. They were in prison, which would make sense. You round them up, but they're still being born. There's just a lot of stuff that's introduced because they say that Deadpool is in the Logan's timeline, which he's not. He isn't. There's no way he can be, or else everything that was introduced in Logan was a facade, a lie. So it just kind of breaks Logan. They said they were going to do it in the beginning, and then what they did, it was funny, it worked, but then they went on and breaking the entire story around it. Why everything happened. But other than that, I mean, I enjoy it for what it is. If you think about it too much, it really becomes an issue if you think about it. So what's the goal? Don't think about it. Just accept it for what it is. Enjoy it for the most part. For me, it's still Logan is by far the best, because I did a podcast with my friend, basically Deadpool and Wolverine, and how do they stack up, something like that. Just finished it right now, and it has its positives. It has negatives. The jokes aren't as funny. The cameos, there's so much. There's a fighting sequence which is the worst I have seen in a film in a while, but that's just because it was done with people that were last minute rounded up, and it doesn't fit, it doesn't work, and they shouldn't have done long shots. What's funny is there is one person in the cameo that actually does a good job fighting, but that's because he's not fist fighting. He's just standing around with magic, and it's just like, okay, that's easier to accept. It looks cooler because he's not running up and trying to punch extras and things like that, making sure they fall to the ground, not knowing precisely how to move in combat. Because when you watch a combat scenario where people have been trained properly to do that in a film, it just flows naturally. When it looks like they're just high school girls hitting each other over the same dude, that's something completely different, and that's what this felt like. It's just the one scene. The Deadpool and Wolverine sequences seem to work flawlessly. They took their time with them, so those work. But it was just this one, and anyone who watches the film knows the exact sequence I'm talking about. The exact characters in the fight sequence I'm talking about. But the movie is worth it for the most part, just because Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds together in a film. Worth it. Having a cameo come back as the only one of him there will ever be. Worth it. Having a Wolverine cameo. Worth it. Other than that, I wouldn't care. And of course, I knew who Lady Deadpool would be. I already knew who it would be. But in the end, I like the fact that they had another member from the situation be another pool. It was just great. It was just great. I enjoyed that. Thank you all for watching. Check out the film if you're interested. If you're willing to wait, there are spoilers like crazy, but in the end, who cares about them? I've never been a big fan of spoilers because in the end, it's the journey that matters, which is why I can watch Logan over and over and over again, because it's the journey that matters. Here, maybe it's the jokes, but I'd still enjoy seeing Wolverine in his OG suit. I'd still enjoy having him and Deadpool working together. So in the end, I would watch it again. Deadpool isn't really my go-to, but I would watch it again. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles!